Hey Devon, I'm Mark Harris, and I'm currently working at Pixar Animation Studios, and I'm here to critique your work. So let's begin. I've taken a look at it. Actually, let's just run through it real quick.
Listen to me!
Listen to you by what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Okay. The first thing I've noticed is that we have 3 shots here. And this is him getting ready, and then we reveal that he's not really doing anything. This shot and this shot are pretty similar. And I'll tell you what, the cut here is a little weird in that we're staring at the guy over here on the right. And then we cut to the guy on the left our eye kind of jumps up to the top of the frame. It's feeling a little awkward with this tangent up here. But then we come back down here again, and our eye jumps from his face down over here, which is a similar perspective on him. You might opt to maybe just get rid of that first shot and just hold on him a little longer doing his stuff here, which will make him feel that much more awkward when we see him react. That could be nice.
Listen to me!
Listen to you by what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Okay, so what's working really well is that this guy seems to have a very smooth or a very even temperament here, and we're setting him up to be the opposite, which is crazy right here and agitated.
Listen to me!
Listen to you
So this
by
works
what
really
right?
well. We've got a dynamic here between the two where this guy really doesn't care what he says. He's very relaxed, and he has even though he's kind of higher up in the staging here, he actually has the lower hand than this guy does. He has all the power. So the fact that he's controlling him, that the guy playing the game is controlling this guy is a really interesting thing to play off of. So overall, let's look at the performance and see what they each do in this shot here, this being the main juice of the shot. So he's just chilling. And
listen to me!
Listen to you by what right?
By divine
he doesn't even take a look right here, which is nice.
right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Okay. Now there's 2 things here that pop out for me.
Divine right, if you must. I'm your...
And that is, he's talking about his voice. He doesn't have a voice, and so I'd like to see something a little more specific on what that means to him. Right now, all he does is...
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Okay, so he strikes this pose right here, I have a voice. But what does that really say? Is he really talking about, given what you've set yourself up for here, is he really talking about a voice that he's speaking with, or is he talking about he has a voice that is the orchestra? And to me, the gesture that's I have a voice is not quite as specific as it could be. He moves his frustration moves the stand out of the way, which shows his level of frustration. But I think using these things, taking these ideas together, we could get something more specific, such as if he did not throw away his wand here, and he's talking about a voice, maybe the wand more signifies his voice. So perhaps he'd be like, I have a voice. I'm talking about this. I can command you. That's really his voice. So somewhere you can make a more specific choice there. All right. Now, the guy on the left playing the game, he makes another gesture as well. Let's find out what that gesture is.
Listen to me!
Listen to you by what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't.
Okay, no you're not. You told me yourself. You said you didn't want it. No you're not. You told me yourself you didn't want it. What does he actually mean there? Given the context you have, does it mean that you didn't want my cello or my violin? What exactly is he saying there? Right now, he's just kind of fluffing him off with this verbal gesture. But I feel like that's something that could also be more specific and real to the moment that you've created. So maybe perhaps he more gestures down to the violin, like you had told me not to play, now I'm not going to play, or something like that. Something more specific to the moment.
You must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have...
This is good. why should I waste my time listening to you? He's like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to start relaxing again. He readjusts, and then he turns his attention away back to what he was doing. That works really well.
I have a right to be. I have a voice.
At the very end, I don't really get what he's doing. We don't really catch it because the guy on the right is being very active and vocal. I almost feel like you should keep the guy on the left played simple into what he was doing. He seems to be the character that's not really going to change in the end. This is a point right here where he's starting to take upper hand, but it happens like 8 to 12 frames right before the end of the shot. I feel like the simplest thing to do is usually what you want to do is keep it completely simple, is to keep this guy, just keep him in the same attitude that you had the whole time. Keep him in power.
Listen to me!
Listen to you by what right?
By divine right, if you must.
Another thing is he says, listen to me. He snaps, the guy on the right snaps, conductor, snaps into this pose. This pose is a pretty strong pose. It's very dynamic. It's along a diagonal. It's really nice. But later on, he does the same thing right here. And I feel like you can have more of a progression in your shot if you tone this one down here. Like, listen to me. Maybe he does that more upright in a more slightly subtle way, so that when you pop,
Right.
By divine right, if you
that feels larger. Slash later on will feel
must.
larger.
I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening to
Because
you?
I have a right to be.
Heard
And I
what?
have a voice.
Because I have a right to be, I have a voice. Perhaps that's actually when you save a lot of this diagonal for his gesturing. So maybe that's when he's got his wand and he's talking about his voice and he's getting closer. Overall, I just feel like you need a better progression for your conductor guy in the beginning so that he's not at 10 the entire time, right? Telling a story, we're coming from somewhere and we're going to somewhere. You could think about the same thing for your guy on the left. Where does he start and where does he finish? I really like that he kind of readjusts and then goes back to what he's doing. I don't know if there's a way that you can that you could have improved that. Maybe he really doesn't look up until one key moment. Let's see if we could find a moment like that. He's not looking up right now.
Listen to me.
Listen to you by what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening to
Because
you?
I have a right to be.
Heard
And I
what?
have a voice.
Actually, I feel like you played that pretty well. It's just at the very end, let's just keep him looking down. I feel like that'll be stronger. Okay. So yeah, you got that guy looking pretty good. All right, now let's go on to some of the physics. The first thing I had noticed was actually that this guy, the conductor here, feels pretty good. All these moves are really nice. Good arcs, good polish. You've got some overlapping neck movement here. The place where I notice it the most is right here. If you watch his thumb and the tip of this wand, the arc that you're creating goes up right here at the end. You have like an up shape or an up path that it's going. I feel like you need some kind of let's see if I can get this going. You need right now he kind of swings it up and then goes. It kind of floats up like this. This is an arc that you should probably polish to be more something like that, or you just slow into this shape, something like that. So it's just something to look out for overall, and I'll point out some other versions of it, some other examples of it. Overall, a nice shot, a lot of good physics in this one. Let's move on to the next shot. Okay, now I know we're talking about killing this shot. Up to you. The thing I noticed here was that a lot of the movement in the thumb feels a little stiff. And it feels like the hand's not really working this. And usually when you're playing a game, if you're doing anything with your hands are pretty light, and so a lot of your hands move like this. Even a little bit of the angle of the arm or of the hand here will kind of break the wrist a bit. So see if you can throw that into there. You might even, and these fingers look a little stiff too as well. Posing wise, I feel like this mitten right here could be a little more curved in. Maybe something like, let's see, more of this shape, where the fingers are starting to come together just a bit. Something like this. If you want to put a little pressure on the fingers, that's fine too. I feel like they feel like straight knuckle or straight licorice. So if you had more of a bend, something like, there on the tip, so we read that pressure right here, that could be good. So we're looking for an overall curve shape right here and a little more pressure at the tips. And maybe that'll happen at like the half joint, actually. Maybe more like this, that kind of thing. Another thing is that I feel really straight coming from the wrists here, from the lower arm up to the wrist. You might think about maybe somehow extending the elbow lower, or perhaps breaking the arm up just a little more and then bending the wrist down like this, so that we get this break right there at the wrist. A little bit better rhythm and flow through this arm. It won't make it feel so stiff, and he'll feel more relaxed, which is what you want. Another thing is you can take this shoulder and drop this shoulder down like this, and this will also make him feel more relaxed. A lot of the tension from people comes in the shoulders and stuff like this. And just like me, I actually happen to keep a ton of tension in my shoulders, and so you just want to drop it down like this. Feels more relaxed, more healthy. It's kind of what you want. He's going to be in power. He doesn't need to show how powerful he is. It's nice that he can just chill and already be more powerful than the guy that's moving around a lot. Okay, I think I saw one more thing in here, which was maybe a blink. Yeah, so let's look at the blink. Here I feel like you need more brow in the blink. And also, if you notice, you have a frame right here in your blink where he looks kind of like, if this is your eyes, like this, you have your eyes coming down like this, and then you've got this lower eyelid, and then I'm feeling a eye buried into the bottom of your eyelid right here, like this, something like that, versus what you could have. Let me clear this out. What you could have is more of this shape, like a sleepy eye. We bury the top of the eyelid, not the bottom of the eyelid, as he's closing his eyes. And that'll eventually turn into a shape like, I'm a little angry right there, but like this. Then you fully close the eyes after that. We just really don't want, could you drawing? This. That just feels a little weird. So think about that. And then also, as he's using his hands, put a little bit. It's not just the thumbs that's doing this. He's playing a game. Is he really into the game? No, he's probably pretty relaxed and just it's like a bejeweled game. He's not like trying to go crazy. He seems more powerful, which is what we want if he's not trying to get something at this moment. So let's just keep him really relaxed. And as he's pushing the buttons, put a little more forearm stuff in there, so it seems all his muscles are engaging. It's actually kind of hard to not use your pecs when you're doing a lot of stuff right here. Your elbows constantly want to move, and that involves bringing your pecs, moving your arm forward and stuff like that. So try to put more movement in that area.
Listen to me!
Listen to you? By what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not.
All right.
You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening to you?
Because I have a right to be.
Another big physics thing I'm noticing here is that as the conductor throws this thing away, the music stand, it feels very light and almost feels like it's made out of paper, and it doesn't really take him a lot of energy to do so. And I think a lot of that is because he's not putting a lot of power in from his spine into it.
Because I have a right to be.
So if you'll notice, as he moves his spine forward, or as he's here, this is good. We got a good antic. He's putting a lot of energy into this. He kind of comes up, and then he stays in this position. Because you see his torso never really overshoots in a way. So as he does that, I think you need to have him go in more the direction of movement, which is a little coming at us a bit. So a shape similar to. So you kind of want him maybe his head over here like this, and he's twisted. This is his shoulder. he's twisted his body. He's overshot the twist, almost like this twist through this axis. And maybe he puts a little more knee in there. Maybe this even comes out to there. But the idea is that he's overshot where he needs to go, and then he can come back, and that'll give a lot more weight to that move. Okay, so let's look at some more polishy things here. A lot of times, something that stands out to me is watching two pieces of the body move at the exact same time, pixel space wise. So if you track the shoulder right here and you track his chin, especially in these moves here, they tend to kind of move relatively to the same path, just a little distance away from each other. Here they kind of crumple together and then they're locked in this area. So that's something you would want to try to loosen up a bit. So maybe that just means dragging the head a little bit, paying more attention and tracing all the arcs in the body, including the chin, for instance. Because if you watch this chin, that little arc it made there, feels really stiff. And so does his coming forward. Notice how the shoulder and the chin are still locked together here in space. So you want to loosen that up a bit somehow. So let's continue to watch the chin, and it's slowing out, and then all of a sudden it changes, it goes up. If you watch the chin, it just all of a sudden goes up, and so does the shoulder at the exact same time. So we need to break that up, either drag the head or drag the chin, and make most of these smoother arcs. Likewise, even if you were to plot the shoulder, you want this arc to be smoother, not just a shh. So a similar polish note is on this guy. If we watch the fingers close, the hand is not really involved. And usually when the fingers close, like I was saying before, the arm, this break wants to happen, right? So your wrist is going to do something as these fingers close. So pay attention to that kind of thing. Also, the thumb seems to be on a different wavelength than the rest of the fingers. It kind of closes after the other fingers do. It's still moving and tightening after the other fingers are done. So you might keep that slightly closer together in timing. Let's look for one more good polish.
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why?
Overall, more brows attached to the eyes when they blink, especially if they're going to be a hard blink, just a little more brow.
Why should I waste my time listening to
Because
you?
I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Check your feet. You're doing a lot of different moves here. This move's okay. If you watch the toes on this guy here, they kind of slide around. And then especially here, we slide around at kind of an awkward spot in the middle of the foot versus the exact heel or on the ball of the foot.
So yourself, you said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening to you?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
You might also want to try to keep a little more of the pelvis connected to the feet. Anytime the feet go completely straight, like that, right here, this is going to push the pelvis up, and we're going to probably see that. So at that point, maybe that means you need to bend the pelvis a bit on this angle, this axis. And then as he pushes up, it moves over to this axis. This is just so that the pelvis feels more connected to the femurs. Yeah, so overall, your main, I think the main focus here was simplifying a lot of this, and that means taking out that middle shot perhaps, and your eye position on the screen more in the same spot, and being more specific with some gestures, including his wand and what that means as far as what his voice is, and keeping this guy on the left more in control, not having him react at the end, and work on the physics and the polish of your shot.